What truly separates the extraordinary achievers from the ordinary dreamers? Is it intelligence? Is it talent? Or is it luck? The truth, as revealed by David J. Schwartz in The Magic of Thinking Big, is far simpler and far more powerful. Success begins not with what you have, but with how you think. Your thoughts shape your reality. Every great achievement, every invention, every company, every work of art that changed the world began as a single idea in someone's mind. But what made that idea special was the courage to think beyond limits, to imagine something bigger, to believe something greater was possible. This is the magic of thinking big, a deliberate decision to expand your beliefs, your goals, and your expectations far beyond what seems reasonable. Thinking big is not arrogance. It's not about fantasy or showing off. It's about mental scale. The size of your thinking determines the size of your life. If you think small, your goals will stay small, your confidence will stay small, and your opportunities will stay small. But if you dare to think big, your world expands. You begin to attract people, ideas, and chances that match your larger vision. Look at every great person in history, from inventors to entrepreneurs, artists to leaders. None of them started with perfect conditions. They didn't wait for someone's permission. They didn't let their current circumstances define their future. They began with a single belief: I can. That belief turned into action. And that action changed their destiny. Schwartz teaches us that success is not a gift reserved for the chosen few. It's not about IQ, background, or luck. It's about mindset. The world does not pay you for what you know. It pays you for what you believe you can do. If you think you're meant to stay small, you'll unconsciously build a life that keeps you small. You'll find excuses. You'll make fear sound like logic. But the moment you start believing that you're capable of more, truly believing it, something shifts inside you. Your mind starts working like a magnet for opportunity. You start noticing doors that others ignore. You start speaking differently, walking differently, thinking differently. You begin to carry yourself with quiet confidence, the kind that doesn't come from ego, but from belief. And that belief becomes your greatest weapon. Thinking big changes your self-image. People act according to how they see themselves. If you see yourself as insignificant, you'll act small, you'll hesitate, you'll apologize for existing. But if you see yourself as someone who can make an impact, your actions rise to that vision. You speak up. You take chances. You move with purpose. That's where the transformation begins, inside your own mind. The birth of belief. Belief is the fuel behind every dream, every invention, every empire. Without belief, even talent fades. Without belief, even intelligence collapses under pressure. But with belief, real, unstoppable belief, even the smallest seed of an idea can become a tree that touches the sky. Thinking big is the art of setting your mind free. It's looking beyond your current job, your current struggles, your current bank balance, and asking, what if? What if I could create something extraordinary? What if I could change my story? What if I am capable of more than I've ever imagined? This is not about ignoring reality. It's about expanding it. Because your reality is nothing more than the reflection of your thoughts, decisions, and expectations. Change the way you think, and the world begins to shift around you. So here's the truth. Your future is not written. It's imagined. And the size of your imagination decides the size of your life. Thinking big is not a motivational slogan. It's a way of living. It's choosing faith over fear. It's choosing growth over comfort. It's refusing to settle for a small version of yourself. The moment you decide to think big, your energy changes, your vision clears, and your journey begins. And that single decision is where the magic starts. Because the magic of thinking big is not just about success. It's about becoming who you were always meant to be. Belief. One simple word, yet it carries the weight of the entire human story. Every breakthrough, every invention, every success story that reshaped history, all of them began with belief. Before any plan, before any strategy, before any achievement, came belief. The belief that it's possible. The belief that I can. The belief that there's something more within me. David J. Schwartz, in The Magic of Thinking Big, reminds us that belief is not just a feeling, it's a force. It's invisible, but it controls everything visible. It's like the engine inside you that either drives you forward or keeps you still. If you believe in yourself, you unlock energy, creativity, and courage that you didn't even know existed. But if you doubt yourself, even the smallest challenge looks like a mountain. You see, belief is contagious. When you believe in your goal, your body language changes, your tone changes, your mindset changes. You begin to act differently, more confidently, more passionately, more persistently. And the world responds to that energy. People are drawn to those who believe in what they're doing. Opportunity gravitates toward belief like metal to a magnet. Schwartz says, "Believe you can succeed, and you will." It sounds simple, almost too simple. But think about it deeply. Belief creates vision, vision creates action, and action creates results. Every part of success flows from belief. The people who say, "I'll try, but I don't think it will work," are already defeated before they begin. Because belief is the seed, and doubt kills the seed before it even grows. When you look at great achievers, athletes, entrepreneurs, creators, leaders, you'll find one common thread. They all have unshakable belief. They may not have had perfect plans, but they had perfect conviction. They saw success in their minds long before the world saw it in reality. Michael Jordan believed in himself when he was cut from his high school team. Elon Musk believed in space travel when the world laughed at him. Oprah Winfrey believed in her voice when she was told she wasn't fit for television. Belief is the bridge that takes you from rejection to victory. But belief doesn't just happen automatically. You build it, day by day, thought by thought. Schwartz teaches that belief is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it grows. Every time you face a fear and move forward anyway, your belief expands. Every time you replace self-doubt with self-trust, your confidence multiplies. Every time you tell yourself, "Yes, I can," you build another layer of power within. Yet most people do the opposite. They spend their lives convincing themselves why they can't. "I'm not educated enough. I'm too young. I'm too old. I don't have time." These are not truths. They are excuses powered by disbelief. The moment you stop feeding your doubts and start feeding your dreams, your direction changes. You start finding ways instead of reasons. The mind is a master imitator. It listens to your own words and creates reality out of them. If you tell yourself you're not capable, your brain will work hard to prove you right. But if you tell yourself you're born to do something meaningful, your brain will start collecting evidence to make that true. That's the science of belief. Whatever you feed your mind, faith or fear, becomes your future. Belief also changes how you handle failure. People who lack belief see failure as the end. But people who believe see failure as feedback. They don't say, "I failed, so I'm not good enough." They say, "I failed, so I've learned something new." Belief gives you resilience. It allows you to stand back up, to adjust, to keep moving. Without belief, even one setback feels like the end of the road. With belief, 1,000 setbacks become just stepping stones. And here's the beautiful part: belief is transferable. When you start believing in yourself, others start believing in you too. Your family, your team, your customers, your friends, they feel your conviction. Your belief inspires theirs. You become a mirror that reflects possibility back to everyone who doubts themselves. That's the quiet power of big thinkers. They don't just change their lives, they change the belief systems of everyone around them. But to build that kind of belief, you must guard your mind carefully. Schwartz warns against negative influence. The people you surround yourself with can either strengthen or poison your belief. Spend too much time with complainers, doubters, and cynics, and their fear seeps into your thoughts. But spend time with believers, builders, and dreamers, and your own belief expands effortlessly. That's why every successful person protects their mental environment as fiercely as their physical one. Belief also requires repetition. You can't just decide once and forget it. Every day, you must renew your belief, remind yourself why you started, visualize where you're going, and reaffirm that you're capable. It's not about blind optimism. It's about conscious conditioning. You have to train your thoughts to believe, the same way you train your muscles to lift. So tonight, ask yourself one question: what do I truly believe about myself? Not what I say I believe, but what I deeply, silently believe. Because that belief is already shaping your choices, your habits, and your destiny. If your inner voice says, "I can't," challenge it. Replace it with, "I can and I will." If your past tells you, "You've failed before," answer, "That was preparation, not proof." If fear whispers, "You're not ready," declare, "No one ever is, but I'm starting anyway." Belief is not a feeling you wait for, it's a decision you make. A commitment to keep moving even when no one else claps for you. It's what separates those who try from those who triumph. So build belief. Protect it. Speak it. Live it. Because belief is the foundation of all magic, the silent power that transforms dreams into destiny. Believe in yourself, and the world will start believing in you. That's the magic of thinking big. There's a silent killer of dreams, an invisible disease that destroys potential long before success even begins. David J. Schwartz calls it excusitis, the disease of the mind. It's the tendency to make excuses for why we can't, why we won't, and why we shouldn't. Excusitis doesn't shout, it whispers. It hides behind logical-sounding reasons and convincing stories. It's the voice that says, "I could have done it, if only." Every person who has ever failed to reach their potential has, at some point, been infected by this disease. It comes in many forms: health excusitis, intelligence excusitis, age excusitis, luck excusitis. But the result is always the same: paralysis. You stop growing. You stop trying. You stop believing that you can do something extraordinary. Schwartz writes that the most common variety of excusitis is, "I don't have the health for it." How often have we heard, or even said, "I would work harder if my health allowed," or "I'd chase my dream, but I'm just not strong enough"? The truth: most people aren't stopped by their health, they're stopped by their mindset. History is filled with examples of people who turned weakness into strength. Beethoven composed symphonies while deaf. Stephen Hawking redefined science while trapped in a wheelchair. Helen Keller inspired the world without sight or hearing. They didn't wait for perfect health, they used what they had, and it was enough. The second kind of excusitis is, "I don't have enough brains." We often underestimate our intelligence and overestimate everyone else's. Schwartz explains that success is not about how smart you are, but about how you think. It's not IQ, it's I will. He says, the thinking that guides your intelligence is much more important than how much intelligence you have. You can have a sharp mind, but if you fill it with fear, it becomes dull. You can have average intelligence, but if you fill it with faith, vision, and persistence, you become unstoppable. Thinking big transforms average ability into remarkable achievement. Then comes age excusitis. I'm too young. I'm too old. It's too early. It's too late. The clock becomes our excuse, when in truth, it's just a number. Colonel Sanders started KFC in his 60s. Mark Zuckerberg created Facebook in his teens. The universe doesn't care about your age, it cares about your energy. You are not too old to start, and you are not too young to win. The right time isn't a date, it's a decision. And finally, the most seductive of all, luck excusitis. They're just lucky. Right place, right time. If only I had their opportunities. Schwartz dismantles this lie beautifully. He says, those who achieve big things are not lucky. Luck favors those who prepare, who work, and who think big. Luck is the residue of effort. It's the reward of persistence disguised as coincidence. The person who shows up every day, learns every day, and believes every day, that person seems lucky to the world, but they've been earning that luck silently for years. Excusitis is dangerous because it feels safe. It gives you comfort in failure. It lets you blame something else, your health, your age, your environment, instead of taking responsibility. And when you keep repeating those excuses, your mind starts believing them as truth. Slowly, your goals shrink. Your confidence fades. Your imagination dies. But here's the secret: excusitis can be cured. And the cure starts with awareness. The moment you catch yourself making an excuse, stop. Don't justify it. Don't explain it. Just face it. Ask yourself, is this a fact or just a convenient story? Because 9 times out of 10, it's just a story, one you've told yourself so many times that it feels real. The next step is to replace excuses with reasons to act. Instead of saying, "I can't," say, "How can I?" Instead of saying, "I'm not smart enough," say, "I can learn." Instead of saying, "I'm too tired," say, "I'll rest, then I'll continue." Language shapes belief. Change your words, and you begin changing your life. Schwartz also teaches us to associate with people who refuse to make excuses. Surround yourself with doers, not doubters. Every person you spend time with either fuels your dreams or feeds your fears. Winners rarely complain. They focus on solutions, not problems. Their energy is contagious. It reminds you that excuses are just noise, and action is the only cure. Another powerful way to destroy excusitis is through visualization. Visualize yourself succeeding despite limitations. See yourself strong, capable, confident. Your mind doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. It believes what you repeat. So feed it images of victory. Remind yourself daily that thousands have succeeded from situations worse than yours. If they could, why not you? And here's a truth most people never face. Making excuses doesn't protect you, it imprisons you. It builds invisible walls around your dreams. Every excuse you make today becomes a regret tomorrow. So stop guarding your limitations and start breaking them. Think of excusitis as a virus that feeds on fear and dies in the presence of courage. Every time you take action, no matter how small, you weaken it. Every time you push past comfort, it loses power. Every time you refuse to settle, it begins to fade. Remember this: no one has perfect conditions. Every success story is a story of imperfection turned into strength. The difference between those who rise and those who stay behind is not circumstance, it's choice. You can choose excuses, or you can choose growth. You can choose comfort, or you can choose courage. But you cannot have both. Excusitis will always whisper, "Not now, not you, not possible." But your belief, your big thinking, must shout louder, "Now. Absolutely possible." Because every time you silence an excuse, you awaken a part of yourself that was waiting to live. And that is how big thinkers move forward. They don't wait for the world to give them permission. They destroy excusitis, and they build the life they dream of. Confidence. The silent force behind every success story. The invisible power that makes people listen when you speak, follow when you lead, and believe when you dream. It's not arrogance, not showmanship, not ego. Real confidence is quiet, steady, and unshakable. It's the ability to walk into uncertainty and still believe in your ability to figure things out. David J. Schwartz, in The Magic of Thinking Big, calls confidence the essential ingredient of achievement. Without confidence, ideas stay hidden, talents stay unused, and opportunities stay untouched. Confidence transforms "I wish" into "I will." It's the bridge between your potential and your performance. And the good news? Confidence is not something you're born with, it's something you build. Confidence begins in the mind long before it appears in your actions. You don't act confidently because you feel confident. You feel confident because you act confidently. Schwartz teaches a profound truth: action cures fear. Every time you take action, no matter how small, you silence a little bit of self-doubt. Fear grows in silence, but confidence grows in motion. Imagine two people facing the same challenge, say, speaking on stage. One says, "I'm terrified, I'll probably mess up." The other says, "I'm nervous, but I'll prepare and I'll do my best." Who will perform better? The second one. Not because they feel no fear, but because they act despite it. The first person waits to feel confident before acting, but that feeling never comes. The second person acts first, and the feeling follows. Confidence is built on doing, on showing up again and again, even when your hands shake. Every small win becomes a brick in your foundation of self-belief. Each time you succeed at something you once feared, you tell your mind, "See? I can handle this." Over time, that inner voice grows stronger. That's how real confidence is built, not overnight, but through consistent courage. Schwartz also reminds us that confidence begins with how you think about others. People who lack confidence often fear judgment. They imagine that everyone is watching, criticizing, or laughing at them. But here's the truth. Most people are too busy worrying about their own lives to focus on yours. The moment you stop living in fear of what others think, you set yourself free. He says, the person who does the thing is the one who has the courage to begin. Confident people understand that mistakes are not evidence of weakness. They are proof of growth. They don't demand perfection from themselves. They demand progress. They know that every expert was once a beginner who dared to look foolish in the beginning. To think and act with confidence, Schwartz gives simple, powerful strategies. First, dress and act the part. How you present yourself shapes how you feel about yourself. When you carry yourself with dignity, when you look your best, you feel your best. It's not vanity, it's psychology. Your posture, your walk, your tone, they all send messages to your brain saying, I am capable. When you act confidently, your mind begins to believe it. Second, sit in front. Whether it's a classroom, a meeting, or a gathering, confident people don't hide in the back. Sitting in front signals engagement, leadership, and boldness. It tells your brain, I belong here. Schwartz observed that people who sit in front naturally participate more, think faster, and stand out. It's a small decision that trains your mind for bigger stages. Third, speak up. Confidence grows through voice. Every time you express your thoughts clearly, your confidence expands. Most people stay silent out of fear of being wrong, fear of being judged. But silence is the seed of insecurity. The more you hold back, the more your self-trust fades. Speaking up builds self-respect. You start realizing that your ideas have value, and your words have power. Fourth, smile. A smile is not just an expression, it's an energy. It changes how others see you, and more importantly, how you see yourself. Smiling releases tension, boosts your mood, and makes you approachable. When you smile, you tell your subconscious mind, I am in control. I am safe. Confidence doesn't mean being loud. Sometimes, it means radiating quiet positivity. And fifth, think victory, not defeat. Your inner dialogue defines your destiny. If you constantly tell yourself, I can't, I'll fail, or I'm not enough, your mind will obey. But if you feed your brain thoughts of success, I'll make it work, I've got this is my time, your actions start aligning with those words. Positive thinking isn't a cliché, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Confidence is also about how you respond to failure. The confident person doesn't deny fear, they manage it. They fail, they hurt, they fall, but they get up faster. They analyze what went wrong and move forward without shame. In their mind, failure isn't final, it's feedback. Every stumble adds another layer of emotional strength. Schwartz explains that confidence grows when you focus on contribution instead of comparison. Stop comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. Instead of asking, am I better than them? Ask, how can I add value? The moment your focus shifts from insecurity to impact, your confidence multiplies. When your goal is to give, not to impress, fear fades away. And perhaps the most powerful truth of all, confidence comes from preparation. People who prepare deeply fear less. Preparation turns anxiety into assurance. When you've done the work, when you've rehearsed, practiced, studied, your brain knows it's ready. Preparation is confidence in disguise. Remember, confidence doesn't mean you'll never feel afraid again. It means you've learned to move forward with fear instead of waiting for it to disappear. Courage is not the absence of fear, it's mastery over it. So stand tall. Speak clearly. Smile often. Walk with purpose. And think victory. Confidence isn't about being better than others. It's about being better than the version of yourself that doubted yesterday. Every act of courage adds a drop of confidence to your soul. And one day, you'll look back and realize, you no longer chase confidence. You are confidence. Leadership. It's one of the most misunderstood words in the world. Many think leadership means authority, power, title, control. But as David J. Schwartz reveals in The Magic of Thinking Big, true leadership is not about commanding others, it's about inspiring others. It's not about being in charge, it's about being worth following. Leadership begins not in a boardroom, not on a stage, but in your mind. The way you think determines the way you lead. If you think small, you'll lead small. If you think big, you'll lift others to think big too. Every great leader in history, from spiritual guides to innovators to revolutionaries, started by believing that one person's vision could move the hearts of many. Schwartz writes, "Leadership is not a mystical quality reserved for a chosen few. Leadership is the ability to get people to do things they wouldn't do if you weren't there." And that ability starts with your mindset, your faith in people, your courage to take responsibility, and your willingness to act when others hesitate. The truth is, leaders are made, not born. They are ordinary individuals who decide to think and act with extraordinary vision. They take ownership where others blame. They see solutions where others see problems. And most importantly, they lift others while they climb. Leadership is not about perfection. It's about direction. People don't follow flawless individuals. They follow authentic ones. A true leader admits when they don't know something, learns from others, and keeps moving forward. Insecurity says, "I need to be right." Leadership says, "I need to do what's right." Schwartz highlights 3 foundations of great leadership: vision, confidence, and service. 1. Vision, the power to see beyond now. Big leaders think long-term. They don't just react to what is, they imagine what could be. They dream of better systems, stronger teams, more meaningful results. Vision is what gives leadership direction. It's the compass that guides decisions when the path isn't clear. When you think like a leader, you constantly ask, where are we going? Why does it matter? What future am I creating, for myself and for others? Vision is contagious. When you speak with clarity and conviction, people begin to see what you see. And once they see it, they'll walk with you through any challenge to make it real. 2. Confidence, the courage to begin. Leaders are not fearless. They feel fear, but they act anyway. They don't wait for perfect conditions because they know they'll never come. They trust themselves, and that trust becomes the anchor that steadies others. When everyone else panics, leaders project calm. When others doubt, leaders say, let's try. Confidence in leadership isn't loud, it's grounded. It says, I may not know everything, but I know we'll figure it out together. When you think like a leader, you radiate confidence not from ego, but from faith. Faith in effort, faith in purpose, faith in people. 3. Service, the heart of true leadership. Great leaders don't lead for applause, they lead to advance others. They care about their people. They listen, they guide, they empower. Schwartz reminds us that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. A leader's power doesn't come from position, it comes from compassion. Service transforms leadership from authority to legacy. Thinking like a leader also means thinking we, not me. Leaders shift their focus from self-interest to collective growth. They stop asking, what do I get? And start asking, what can I give? They measure success not by how high they rise, but by how many they bring with them. And that's where the real magic happens, when your dreams include others. When your victory becomes their victory. When your energy makes others believe in themselves again. But leadership isn't easy. It means making decisions when you're unsure. It means standing firm when you're criticized. It means taking responsibility for both success and failure. Weak minds look for someone to blame. Strong minds look for ways to improve. Schwartz also talks about thinking respect. Big thinkers respect others, genuinely, deeply. They see potential in everyone. They treat waiters, workers, and executives with the same level of dignity. Because they understand that respect creates loyalty. And loyalty is the foundation of all leadership. When you think like a leader, you learn to praise more than you criticize. People blossom under appreciation and shrink under judgment. A single sincere compliment can ignite more motivation than 1,000 complaints. Schwartz says, think big enough to see how good your people really are. That's what leaders do. They see greatness before it's obvious. Leaders are also teachers. They don't hoard knowledge, they share it. They don't hide secrets, they empower others to learn. Teaching others what you know is one of the most powerful ways to grow your own influence. When you help others win, your leadership multiplies. But leadership begins with self-leadership. You can't lead others until you can lead yourself. That means discipline, emotional control, humility, and consistency. It means doing the right thing when no one is watching. It means keeping promises, even the small ones. Because leadership isn't about how you act in public, it's about how you behave when no one's there to applaud. To think like a leader is to refuse to live as a follower of fear. It's to take initiative. To say, "I'll go first." To believe in possibilities when everyone else sees problems. It's to guide, not push. To lift, not boast. To serve, not control. Leaders are not born in comfort. They are shaped in challenge. Every time you choose to act when others freeze, you lead. Every time you speak truth when others stay silent, you lead. Every time you rise after failure, you lead. Leadership isn't a position. It's a mindset. And when you think like a leader, even if you lead just one person, yourself, you're already changing the world. So lead with vision. Lead with confidence. Lead with love. Because when you think like a leader, you stop waiting for change and start becoming it. Every person who ever achieved something great has faced defeat. Not once, not twice, but many times. Defeat is not a sign that you're failing, it's a sign that you're trying. It's proof that you're alive, that you're in the game, that you dared to move when others stood still. David J. Schwartz, in The Magic of Thinking Big, says that the difference between those who quit and those who rise lies in one simple truth. Defeat is not the end, it's an instruction. Defeat is life's way of asking, how badly do you want it? It's not a wall meant to stop you, it's a mirror meant to teach you. It reflects your weaknesses, your habits, your mindset, and it whispers, grow here. Those who think small c defeat as proof that they can't win. Those who think big C defeat as the raw material from which victory is built. Every failure carries a lesson, a key hidden in pain. Most people never find it because they're too busy complaining, blaming, or giving up. But those who pause, who reflect, who study their setbacks, always rise higher. They understand that the world doesn't punish effort, it rewards persistence. Schwartz tells us that big thinkers never let failure define their identity. When something goes wrong, they don't say, I'm a failure. They say, that attempt failed, I'll try again. The focus stays on the action, not the self. Because as long as you don't turn defeat into self-doubt, you're still in control. You may be down, but you're not done. Think about every great story you know. Thomas Edison failed 1,000 times before he created the light bulb. Walt Disney was told he had no imagination. J.K. Rowling faced years of rejection. Abraham Lincoln lost election after election before he became president. What kept them going? Faith, the belief that the end of one road wasn't the end of the journey. Big thinkers never ask, why me? They ask, what now? They don't sit in the ashes of disappointment, they build something new from it. They understand that defeat has no power over a mind that keeps moving forward. Schwartz gives a powerful idea. It's not important how many times you fail. What matters is how many times you get up, and how fast. The longer you dwell in defeat, the deeper it pulls you in. But the moment you decide to rise, to learn, to adapt, to try again, you turn defeat into strength. Every comeback begins with a choice. There's also a deeper truth. Defeat humbles you. It strips away arrogance. It reminds you that success is earned, not owed. And in that humility, you gain clarity. You start valuing small wins. You start appreciating progress. You stop chasing applause and start chasing purpose. Defeat, when used wisely, builds character stronger than any victory ever could. Schwartz teaches us practical ways to turn defeat into victory. 1. Refuse to blame luck or circumstances. When something fails, don't blame fate. Don't say, it wasn't meant to be. Say, I'll find another way. When you take responsibility, you regain control. Victims stay stuck. Leaders adjust. The act of owning your failure transforms it into fuel. 2. Analyze, don't agonize. Don't drown in emotion. Study the experience. Ask, what worked? What didn't? What can I do differently next time? Defeat becomes a teacher when you treat it like one. Each setback becomes a training session for your next success. 3. Keep your goals visible. When you're defeated, your vision feels blurred. That's when you must look again at your goal. Visualize it, feel it, remember why it matters. Remind yourself, the dream is still alive, the path just changed. A clear goal is the compass that helps you navigate through chaos. 4. Associate with encouragers, not complainers. In moments of defeat, the people around you matter most. Complainers amplify pain. Encouragers amplify hope. Surround yourself with those who say, "You've got this," not, "I told you so." Energy is contagious. Stay close to those who believe. 5. Turn setbacks into stories of strength. One day, your struggle will be your story. The pain you feel now will become the wisdom someone else needs later. When you start viewing your defeats as lessons that can help others, you transform pain into purpose. Schwartz reminds us, every big success is just a collection of small victories built on top of old defeats. You can't have one without the other. Failure is not the opposite of success, it's part of it. To think big is to keep faith even in darkness. It's to whisper to yourself when everything falls apart, "This is not where my story ends." Because victory doesn't come to the strongest or the fastest, it comes to the one who refuses to stop. Life will test you. It will break your plans. It will knock the wind out of your dreams. But it can never take your will, unless you surrender it. The world respects those who keep standing, who keep believing, who keep moving. Defeat is temporary. Giving up makes it permanent. So rise. Stand taller than your fall. Walk back into the storm with a stronger heart. Because every storm you survive builds the strength you'll need for the sunlight ahead. Remember, you have faced defeat before, and yet, you're still here. You've been hurt, but you healed. You've failed, but you learned. And every time, you came back stronger. That is the real magic of thinking big. It's not just about success or wealth or recognition. It's about refusing to live small. It's about believing that every setback is a setup for something greater. It's about trusting that your story still has unwritten pages, and the pen is still in your hand. So go forward, with faith, with courage, with vision. Think big. Act big. Live big. Because your defeats are not your end. They are the beginning of your greatest victory. And that is the magic of thinking big.